Let's get going, Greg.
Okay, lots of familiar names on the call, a lot of familiar faces, a few smiles, and we hope all your training is going well and you're all in good shape, be you a runner or also a support crew member or even just family and friends. In kicking us off tonight, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the respective lands upon which we meet and which we run, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and we recognise their ongoing connection to those lands. Thanks for joining us for our third webinar. We hope you have found the last two useful and positive and informative, particularly given we have a lot of new runners to the event this year and assume to be a lot of new support crew with it as well. We've got, while the webinar is targeted primarily at support crew, we have a couple of general race updates to provide with that as well. Mickey.
So the first one is revolves around Big Jack Mountain Road, and the word from the council. Let me just turn this volume down. Sorry. The word from the council is that Big Jack Mountain Road is still going to be closed come the event. So as of late last week, we managed to get all the necessary approvals in place such that we can crack on with Cowbell Trail. So that's the alternative to Big Jack Mountain Road, and it essentially ensures that the race goes ahead. So a couple of photos there. One is us going up, well, the other one's going up as well, but it just gives you an idea of the incline. So the first part of it is the whole section is 14.5 kilometres, and it takes you from the bottom of Cowbell Trail up to Cathcart General Store. The first 7 odd kilometres, it's steep, it's wide, it's dirt trail, it's muddy, it's stony, but essentially it's like, like those photos portray. The next 1.5 kilometres is gently undulating. Again, it's wide and there's a lot of grass. And what that does is it brings you onto what's called Coolingubra Forest Way, and then you've got approximately 6 kilometres of like straight, wide gravel bitumen road, and that takes you up to Cathcart General Store. So that's essentially the alternative route to Big Jack Mountain Road. New runners is probably immaterial to you. Past runners, you'd be very familiar with like Big Jack Mountain Road, but this is basically the way we're going ahead for the 2022 version. So for runners, roughly rocky, what's it, rocky?
5K rocky goal.
Yeah. So at 56.1 kilometre, you take a left. It's like a dirt driveway, but that's when the actual the Cowbell Trail starts. And we'll have an official there so that you can see where to actually go. And then about 300 metres after that, you're going to take a right on a Cowbell Trail, but that's signposted. And then, guys, if I could just ask everybody to go to mute, that would be really good and much appreciated. Thanks very much. Because of the isolated nature of the actual trail, like you are away out in the back of nowhere. What we want runners to do is to run with a pacer. So basically there's 2 of you. So we're making that as a mandatory requirement of actually doing Cowbell Trail. And then for support crew, you take your runner up to the 56.1k mark, you remove your race signage, and you just proceed to Cathcart like a normal vehicle. So you do a U-turn, you proceed to Cathcart via New Buildings Road and Mount Dara Road. And that's roughly about 53k. And according to Google Maps, it takes 55 minutes. You need to observe any kind of like road signs, any speed limits. And then you can meet up with your runner at Cathcart General Store. And then what we ask you to do is you're then an official part of the race again. So put your race signage on and you're off and running. Don't worry about like, getting there after your runner. It's going to take a superhuman feat for a runner to get up to Cathcart General Store within 55 minutes. Probably like the fastest of the runners might like get about an hour and a half. So plenty of time So make sure you drive safely and you know, really observe any of those kind of the road rules. The one thing that we'd ask everybody is don't try and meet up with your runner earlier. So don't go down to Coolingubra Road to meet up with your runner. Just meet them at Cathcart General Store and they'll come to you.
Mickey, just confirming there's no vehicles that go up Cowvale Trail?
Confirming. Absolutely none.
Fantastic. What we'll do is we'll have updated documentation on the website over the next 1 to 2 days that will just have the revised route information which goes with it. Generically too, everything's looking pretty good. We're continuously monitoring weather. We're in contact with councils, particularly Bega Valley Council, and we've got another 1 to 2 meetings with them. Again, that's just based on weather and what the roads are like or will be like. As you expect, a lot of those areas have been pounded by rain, again, even as late as the last week or two. So we just need to be in contact with them to understand what's going on. And they're very happy with that as well. As advised a number of times, we strongly recommend four-wheel drive capability for sport crew vehicles. Part of that is, yeah, you're on dirt roads. That sort of helps. And they have a little bit of size with them. The second piece with it, the verges will be quite soft off the road. So you need to be quite careful where you park. And if vehicles get bogged, for those people who've done the race before, they don't get bogged on the road. They get bogged when they go off to park on the side somewhere and it's a bit slippery and they get stuck and can't get out. So four-wheel drive, we strongly recommend. We will be asking for you to confirm your support crew details at the back end of the week. That will be via a link sent out to you where we need you to nominate your support crew chief. Remember, one support crew chief. We want the names and mobile numbers of remaining crew. Again, that's linked back to safety. So if for some reason something does happen and we're unable to contact the crew chief, we can also look to contact one of the support crew members. In addition to that, it's important for part of our approval processes that we actually know who's on course and how many people are out on course. All right, so consider that as a safety measure, not an administrative matter. With it, support crew vehicle details, just the rego plate. We understand some of you may not have locked that down yet, or a couple of you may be getting higher vehicles. Tell us what you can, but we expect to have those details as soon as we can. If for those of you who are picking up vehicles that you're hiring the day or two before the race, let us know as soon as you can, and we'll put that in, certainly by no later than registration. And again, we'll send the link out later in the week. We will have the Toowoomba barbecue menu out to you reasonably soon as well. I think we've talked about just touched on this once or twice before, that the Toowoomba Public School, which is a very small hamlet, you wouldn't even know that it would be big enough to have a school. They put on barbecue for us every year coming through. We don't, there's no clip of the ticket, there's nothing in it for us. All the money that is spent with that public school goes back directly into that public school in the local area. And we really encourage you to buy big, order whatever you can. If they've got school mugs and shirts, buy them, do all those sorts of things. They're great supporters. And remember, it's out of area money and it really helps them. Similarly, when we get to Dalgety, it's an example. The Dalgety Cafe closed earlier in the year. The public school there closed earlier in the year as well. These little places have been doing it tough for a while and they're struggling. Any dollars we can chip in, yeah, are greatly appreciated. So please, we'll get that menu out and you'll just know what it is and you order there on the day. All right, with that. Also, the Adventist Alpine Village Breakfast, we'll have details of those available shortly. We're just working through the final details of that. Either we will collect from you in advance or it'll be pay at the door. Just working through what's easier and works for the venue at this stage. And for those of you who were with us last year at the Sport and Rec Camp, we had to get COVID forms, we had to get a number of other details and register and payment we will advance. Similar this year, but we don't have to do the COVID forms, obviously, with that. So we'll get details out to you on that as soon as we can as well. I think that's probably the last of the updates. So just confirming, Cowvale Trail is now the route. We hope you enjoy it. We did. It was hard going up. It was interesting skiing coming back down afterwards. And we'll have updated documentation available shortly. And at the end of the week, we'll be looking for a little bit more information from you on crew chiefs, etc.
Brilliant. Pam actually raised a good point. So when the support crew do the U-turn, yeah, they're going to be encountering runners coming along the road. The actual distance from Cowbale Trail, the entrance, to New Buildings Road is 10.2 kilometres. So the support crew are going to have to be ultra careful on the road back so that they don't clean up any runners. Good point, Pam. Thank you. The race schedule's not really changed that much. You know, we've got the pre-race safety briefing that happens on the Wednesday. Check-in on a Thursday at the Seahorse Inn, Twofold Bay. So that's a new venue. It's just below just south of Boytown Beach. Got race schedule that at 4:50 that morning. Now I get the race start at 5:30. Got the cut-off times. Race finish 3:30. Now I get the post-race brekkie and presentation on the Sunday morning. And that's being held at the Adventist Alpine Village. The Jindabyne Sport and Rec place was fully booked, so we've chosen this as an alternative venue. It's really good. It's just up the road from Jindabyne Sport and Rec. So that's the updates. I think Greg summarised them pretty well. The reason we're brought together tonight is to actually just get the benefits of insights and wisdom and anecdotes from support crew. We're very, I think, honoured and delighted to have two support crews along tonight. So representing Rob Mason, we'll get Jenny Mason. Thanks, Jenny and Peter, for giving us your time tonight. And representing Kevin Heaton, we've got Greg Finlay. And I think, Greg, I'll start with you, mate. I think have you crewed for Kevin in every single one of his runs?
No, I think I've done 8 of them.
8? Right.
Yeah.
I think you're fully qualified then. And Jenny and Peter, how many have you actually done for Rob? You're on mute, by the way, Jenny and Peter.
Okay, we're not now. We've done 5.
5, brilliant. 5. Well, how did you actually get roped into it? What was Rob's words of influence that kind of got you over the line?
Well, we had the right vehicle and the right camping equipment and the stoves and the fridge. And also someone had to feed him.
And we had crewed for him in shorter races before. So I guess it was a natural progression.
Right. And Greg, how did you get roped in, mate?
I think I was probably watching the race while I'm very, very busy at work. And just the opportunity came up the next year. One of Brick's former crewmates couldn't make it. So yeah, I stepped in. So, yeah.
You've now done that 8 times.
8 times. We think it's about 8 times, yeah.
Yeah. So you must get something out of it as well. I'd like everyone to think. So what's in it for you? What do you get out of it? Besides Lindt chocolates.
Yeah, I don't get them. Everyone else gets them. Look, it's a very, very big weekend. I don't know, Brick keeps on saying that the crews have actually got it harder than what the runners do. I've never run it. I've crewed it enough to know that it's a tough gig. But yeah, it must be good fun for me to keep coming back 8 years in a row. What do I get out of it? I guess pushing myself as a crew member to sort of next levels. There's not a lot of sleep. You grab it when you can, but being a shift worker, that's never really been an issue for me. Yeah, I just love it. It's a great bunch of people. The runners, the crews, everyone works together to get everybody over the finish line. So just being a part of it's just an amazing atmosphere. It's a great weekend, and I really, really look forward to it.
Thank you. And Jenny, you keep going back as family. Sometimes you don't get that much of a choice, but obviously you really enjoyed it.
Very much so. It's a lovely race. It's got a great atmosphere. Even though we're not runners ourselves, we enjoy the camaraderie of the race, the beautiful scenery, the satisfaction of seeing Rob set a goal and achieve it, seeing the elation of all the runners when they finish and the hard work that goes into it. We sort of appreciate the hard work, but we also appreciate their euphoria, maybe, when they finish. It's just a very happy weekend, despite watching some pretty
painful events,
painful experiences.
And do you think the pain increases the longer it goes?
It depends on the year. Yes, I think for some runners it definitely increases as they go. Yeah.
Not to kind of like labour the point, but would you subscribe to Greg's point of view there that the support crew is harder than actually the runners just get out there and doing the race?
Never having run it, I can't really answer that, but I can say the support crew is part of the race. You know, the runner is nothing without the support crew. No, that's probably not the right way to say it, but you're just as important as the support crew as the runner, because without one, I'm getting tangled up.
No, you're not. I think you understand what you're saying, Jenny, completely.
You know, it's important that we're as prepared in our own way as the runner is in his or her way.
Exactly.
And to that point, what would you consider the key ingredients of a top-notch support crew?
Preparation, knowing your runner, listening to your runner, knowing exactly what they expect from the support crew.
Your food plan.
Yeah, food, nutrition, all that sort of thing. Getting ideas of what to do if there's a problem, if something goes wrong that we're not familiar with how a runner would deal with it. We have to know what he expects from us.
And having the guts to say what he needs.
Yeah, sort of overriding him at times when we can see what we think he needs when he doesn't think he needs it.
And another is not going to sleep.
Yeah.
Very much listening to your runner, but also watching your runner.
Yes.
I learned probably after 5 or 6 times, I probably learned more 3 years ago, when just watching Brick with another one of our crew and just watching how the other crew member almost force-fed him. And he didn't want it, but it was just one lint ball every K or two, and it was just enough just to keep him pushing on. It's a small piece of chocolate, but it's sugary, it's salty, it's got all the vital ingredients apparently, and he didn't want it, but he took it because it was pretty well force fed to him. So yeah, just watch your runner and listen to him, of course.
No, that's right.
It's almost paraphrasing, while you're supporting, it actually gets to the point more you're managing and leading your runner.
Yeah.
Definitely. When they lose the ability to think for themselves too, you have to be the one that reads their body language, reads the way they're running, that sort of thing, and then give them what they need to keep them going, to sustain them.
So, Jenny, Peter, you've basically done it 5 times with Rob. What's been your highlight and your low light of being the support crew thus far?
Well, my highlight, even though it sounds strange, was watching Rob be so physically ill before Rocky Hall, and then through his determination and our crewing and our strategies, getting him through the race, finishing in a creditable time and actually succeeding when we thought that there was no way he would be able to do it. That was a highlight for me particularly, I think for Peter too.
And that's when the plan went out the window and I think he had Coke. He doesn't
Very,
usually
very
have
early.
Coke until after 200k, but he had Coke and he had some nourishment there, which he doesn't usually take, and then he just got walking and then picked up.
He gradually became stronger and able to finish. That was a highlight, even though it was an absolute low light in the beginning. It turned around and became a very positive race.
And the low life is seeing his blisters bleed. And the pain.
Yeah.
Well, the support crew love feet, don't they? They all love their runners' feet. I don't think I've met a support crew person yet who loves their runners' feet. And Greg, for you?
Probably the low point was last year watching Brick very, very close to hypothermia. It was about 20k out of Dalgety or before Dalgety. And as a support crew, we decided that it was time to call the race. Very, very tough. There was lots of meetings and lots of talking outside the car with Brick inside the car, wrapped in blankets with the heaters on, just trying to get him to, settle down. So yeah, that was definitely a low point. High points, I think all the other 7-ish that I've done, they're all so different. They're all so good. Definitely getting your runner to the end. This is a team sport. So if you're part of that team and the end goal is, regardless if it's at Charlotte's Pass first time or on the return leg, each one of those 7 times has just been amazing. So, yeah. I've been very lucky also to be coached by John Melansenko. He's been Brick's crew chief every year except for this one. He's decided to step down now and pass the baton on. So, yeah, I'm very lucky to have watched John with his crewing knowledge, and I hope that I can carry on some of that to Brick's race this year without John. But, yeah, that's another positive is John's input to the race and to Brick.
I know a special, just to indulge a moment, I know a special moment, I think for both of us was, like last year was very, it's disappointing, but we want people to make smart decisions, right? So you made a smart decision about Brick, right? And that was a really hard point to hear that Brick had pulled out, because it was his first time he'd DNF. So that was, I think, a little low light from last year. But then a highlight was when he came, and you all came up to Charlotte Pass to make sure and welcome Jane home for her 10th. That was a very special. We talk a lot about Kosciuszko and the camaraderie and the family feel. I know personally for us, that was a very special moment with Kevin and Jane up there at the time. So that was really a highlight and a low light in the one thing.
Even with you guys,
I guess that's a very valid point. I don't know if you
remember, like the Charlotte Pass disco, and I was dancing like
yes.
Yeah, very romantic.
Yeah.
So what would a support crew plan look like for you, Greg? Do you pull together a good plan beforehand?
Basically, I guess I've got the easy job, having done so many of these with Brick. Our plan, and we haven't had a team meeting about this yet, but the plans for the last 8 years has always been, obviously, you get to Toowoomba and then basically just leapfrog between 5 and 3K. You've got to make sure you look after the runner, but also make sure you look after yourself. So make sure that the crew is being fed, the crew is being kept warm. So yeah, that's an important part of your race plan. But yeah, just leapfrog. Make sure you keep the food up to him. You got to watch where you're stopping. Obviously, you don't stop halfway up a hill, because then Brick's got to get going again from halfway up the hill. Give him a rest when you get to the top of the hill. Race plans. I don't know. We've always just sort of done the 3 to 5K, and I know that's pretty well the given amongst a lot of the runners, because you'll see as you travel 200 or 220k that you can drive, that you're going to be with pretty well the same people the whole way. You know, you'll find your runners will be running alongside other crews that the other runners are being supported by. But yeah, just make sure that everyone's fed and everyone's has a sleep, because if your crew's falling asleep and your runner runs past you, then you're in trouble.
And Jenny, Peter, from your end, a support plan?
More or less the same. Yeah. Organisation. We always have paper. We write down exactly what we're feeding him, what sort of, if he's having salt tablets or any particular problem, we always have plenty of food and snacks.
And we have his plan with us when he wants to be fed and watered.
Yeah. Just organisation and preparation, I think.
Both of you actually mentioned it, and Peter and Jenny, I'd be interested in your opinion first, but how do you stay at the top of your game so that you can provide the best possible support to your runner?
Oh, well,
I missed that one.
How do you stay at the top of your game?
Oh,
I think looking after ourselves as well as looking after the runner is really important. Getting rest where we can, making sure that we know what Rob wants. And
to let him know that we are enjoying it also.
Yeah, being positive about the whole experience and having him know that if he wants something, we'll be there to provide it for him.
And stay positive, not say, gee, it looks cold out there. Just stay positive.
Well, it's very wet.
Very important.
He knows
always staying positive in the moment. Give him something to look forward to in terms of something to look out for. Us appreciating what we're going through, what we're seeing, because the scenery is fantastic. It's just a beautiful, beautiful part of Australia. And just staying positive the whole time. And particularly in front of the runner, we might be, not so positive, just the two of us, but where the runner's involved, you stay positive and you look after yourselves as well as him.
Yeah, it's very important. And Greg, how do you stay at the top of your game so that you can provide the best possible support to your runner?
I don't know. I guess again, being a shift worker, sleeps for the week basically. But yeah, you just make sure that you are fed and you are rested. Rest, before the event. You're going to be, if it's your first time crewing and your first time running, you're going to be nervous about it. So have a good rest. As far as the runner goes, mix up the food. Give him a surprise, or him or her a surprise every now and then. If it's 2 degrees out there, give them something warm. It might be a cup of noodles or something. And the positiveness that you'll get back is enough to keep you at the top of your game. You think, right, well, if he's really enjoying this, then I'm doing something that's working here. He might have come into a low point, you give him a bit of a surprise, and all of a sudden it picks him up and off he goes again.
Yeah.
But yeah, staying positive, staying warm. Look out for the other runners as well. That gives you a big boost. I had a situation a couple of years ago where one of the runners' crews went ahead and they wanted to get some sleep, so they left their runner out there. So I picked up this other runner for 20 or 30 Ks, and they were running pretty well with Brick. So yeah, just keep an eye out for everybody, and that also will make you feel as though you're just giving 110% to this game that we're all about to play.
That's brilliant advice, Greg.
With your vehicle, so one of the most important things is you support the vehicle. How do you set it up or lay it out? And again, you're going to be living in there for the best part of 2 days or a day and a half. How do you set it up so that it functions? How do you organise it? What do you do?
What we did last year, we actually put a roof pod on. So all the stuff that we didn't need during the race just went upstairs. The rest of it, obviously, brick stuff needs to be got at the easiest. We've got a fridge, which keeps lint balls nice and cold for him. And custards and drinks and things all goes in the fridge. We've got it's probably a 15-20 litre water container that sits on top of that. But then you've got all the bricks. Bricks also, he's done it long enough to know what he needs. So he's got his cold weather bag, he's got his wet weather bag, he's got his night bag, he's got his day bag. So just know where all they are. I've got a Prado, so it's access is pretty good to the boot, either by folding the seats down or by getting it through the back. So yeah, just make sure you know where all your food is, make sure you know where your wet weather gear is, make sure you know where your warm weather gear is. And if you do all that, then you've got your safety part of it, 9/10 done. But if you find your runner's getting freezing and he wants his gloves, then here's your gloves. You don't have to go and rip the whole car apart looking for everything. So you just need to know where everything is, have different colour bags if that helps. Yeah, your food and your extreme weather gear is the most important things. So you know where that is, and you'll be right. All the stuff you don't need, so the stuff for Thursday night and from Sunday onwards or after the finish, just put that somewhere where you just don't need to get at it. And the same as your gear, as a crew, you're going to get cold because you're going to be in and out that car every. If you're doing 5Ks, and that's about an hour up the road, so you'll be in and out of the car every hour, and you'll see lights coming from the distance. You have no idea if that's your runner or not, so you'll be calling out names to see if is that you, Brick? Nope. Okay, so the next one, so you're back in the car again. So you got to make sure you stay warm, and you got to know where all your warm stuff and your wet stuff is as well.
And thanks, Greg. And Jenny and Peter, do you organise your vehicle much the same? Or do you do anything a little bit different?
Yes, we have a large fridge in the back of the Prado, and we've got gas stove, little canister gas stoves, and we boil water and put it in a thermos for later on when he needs it. We've got his wet washers in Ziploc bags in the fridge in case
for hot weather.
In case last year, in case it does get warm. And we do try and get some ice blocks at Cathcart, but they don't last all that long. But
and all his mandatory is packed away. That he needs from Charlotte Pass on. That's all packed away, and hopefully not needed until we get there. So that's in a separate bag. It's very much the same as Brick's crew.
I know I'd pack my vehicle and have it all laid out exactly how I wanted it. And then after Swamba, the support crew would pack it how they wanted it, how they needed it to function. There were two different opposing views, but it had to work for them, not for me.
Starts off chat, but it doesn't last.
Yeah. And okay, question on the chat. How do you manage your rest or your sleep requirements?
Get it when you can.
Get it when you can. That's right.
There's no timetable to this. You'll just have to grab it when you can. So if you're going 5K up the road, you've got a 5-minute drive. You've got 45 minutes sleep to be up 10 minutes before your runner gets to you.
So with that, Greg, would you ever do if you've got, like, let's say there's two of you, would you ever do it where there's one person on shift, so to speak, and the other one's sleeping in the back for a few hours? Or is it literally that's the approach you take?
We've always had 3 in our crew, and I think 3 is a really nice number. Jenny, have you always had 2 in your crew?
Yes, we've always two in the car at any one time. Yes, and we tend to grab the rest.
Right. Yeah. So we can have a runner out there with Brick while the other 2 are sleeping, or one's getting prepping stuff and the other one's sleeping. Yeah. So, yeah, sleep-wise, grab it when you can. And if you can grab 5 minutes, it's amazing what a 5-minute power nap will actually do to you. But, yeah, there's no sleeping plan as such with our crew.
No, nor us. It's very rare that we get more than 5 minutes or so at a time.
What do you actually do? I'm interested what you actually do to like prepare for it. You know, getting into the race, do you actually like have like 12-hour sleeps, but the 4 or 5 days before the event, or
no?
Oh,
no?
I don't know that you can bank up sleep like that, but no, we
think
don't.
you can.
No, I've always worked up until Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll generally meet at someone's house and leave at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, drive down, and off we go.
You've both touched a little bit earlier on when we talking about low points. When you have setbacks, or it's not going to plan whether you have your plan or not, but something you hadn't expected does happen, or you've not encountered before, perhaps in races. How do you personally, as a support crew, Greg, manage the setbacks?
Talk amongst your team, talk amongst your crew, and work out how the best way about it is. We've had plenty of team meetings away from Brick, and I don't know if Brick's on here tonight, but I'm sure he's aware that there's been plenty of conversations in the last 8 years that I've been doing it about what ifs and you know what's next and how we're going to do this. Yeah, just talk amongst yourselves. There's no rule book for any of this. But obviously, if it's getting to a point when either your crew or your runner is in some danger, you need to make a decision to get them out of danger, and that might be, as we had to do last year, to pull Brick from the race. If your runner needs a sleep desperately, you know, as hard as it is, stick them in the car for 5 minutes, because everyone knows that sleep isn't really, you don't want to make them too comfortable. Just, you know, beware of the chair type conversation. So yeah, if they're desperately needing sleep, then give them a 5 or a 10-minute sleep. Everyone get out of the car, it's nice and quiet, give him his sleep, and then, you know, get him back out and get him moving again. Hopefully, if he's falling asleep, then there'll be somebody that's going to be with him as a support runner at that stage. If you're falling asleep during the day, then, you know, obviously there might be something else going on. But once the sleep demons start hitting, you know, around that Dalgety area, it's you may just need, you know, 5 or 10 minutes sleep. We've had Brick had a sleep, and I swear it was no more than 2 minutes. And he's woken up, he's sat up, and he's gone, right, I'm ready to go. And he started running again. So that was a decision that he just needed to make, or someone made the decision, right, mate, in the car, have a sleep, let's do this, and off you go.
Yeah. I will admit, I've also done support crew where someone had asked for a 15-minute sleep and they may have only got a 10-minute one.
Yes.
Or they may have asked for a 5-minute sleep, but I thought they were really struggling and they needed 10 or even 15.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Jenny,
Well,
view?
Yeah, I agree. You find out what's caused it, you know, what's caused the setback, what is the setback, then you figure out how to solve it. You talk about it. Sometimes you involve the runner, sometimes you figure it out yourself, and then try and get them back on track as easily as possible. But also, as Greg said, you look for danger. If there's a problem that's, you know, detrimental to the runner, then you take steps to solve that. I think that's it. Yeah.
So Jenny and Peter, like the runner's demeanour, it changes over the course of the race. And aside from being positive, anything else you do to respond to that?
Yeah, well, when tiredness kicks in, you start to notice his demeanour changing.
He can become a bit robotic at times.
Yeah.
And you have to think for him.
Blame his parents for himself.
Yeah, and tell him which way to go.
Yeah. How do you respond? You try and give him something to look forward to, something to do. Do you remember 5 years, the last time you did this, just up the road, there was whatever it was. I wonder if it's still there. You sort of try and
carrot.
Lift them, a little carrot to keep them going, have a treat for them or something like that. Just try and keep their spirits up, know their running style, know when they're falling into a slump, and then go from there if you can.
Yeah, brilliant. And Greg?
Yeah, same. But also, it's not a glamorous job sometimes, this whole crewing thing. So yeah, just get ready for. I'm assuming that most of the crew are runners. So you may need to look at blisters or toenails, or there could be anything. We had a runner, was it last year or 3 years ago, that was actually run off the course very early in the piece by a car. So yeah, it's not it can be not quite a glamorous thing. So yeah, just respond accordingly. Yeah, just watch your runner, watch how he is, or watch how she is. Keep talking to them.
Yeah.
Keep talking to them all the way through. There's going to be points when they're just going to want to be in that zone, but just throw them a question every now and then, just more to check on how they are mentally. I've been with Brick going up Baloka, and he may or may not have been falling asleep as he's walking. And the only reason that I knew that was because the questions weren't getting answered anymore. And it wasn't because he was ignoring me. So yeah, just keep talking to your runners. Keep talking to them. That's the best way of working out how they are. And I'm not saying, they're not going to want to answer you all the time, because they're obviously got a goal. But if they can give an answer back that makes sense, then that's good. If they're starting to not make sense, then you may need to make a decision on what's going wrong and what are we going to do from here.
Yeah. Dan's on the chat. Dan's actually saying you might have to let his crew, because his crew just party, cross-dress and then run around semi-naked. We probably want to get them maybe running around naked, Dan.
Yeah, probably what highlights, and I know we've been probably some heavier questions about the points when things go wrong and when things are tough, and how you get your runner out of those deep, dark places sometimes in the middle of the night, mentally and physically. But it is also, we want people to have a good time in a safe way, and crews do enjoy it. And I think that's why we get so many repeat crews and repeat runners. And I know my support crew used to always ask me when they were going for their holiday, because let's go again. So people do enjoy it. So we want your crews to make sure you're not all doom and gloom with your crews. Make sure you pick people who are supportive and positive, who want to have a good time, but also know where that line is for either safety and or managing your runner as well, and being able to make those calm and smart decisions when they need to be made, when those setbacks do occur. Jenny and Peter, what's worked well for you in the past as support crew for Rob?
I think just the planning and what we planned together, and his nutrition, freezing some food for him.
Knowing what he wants and what he doesn't want, having treats for him that he doesn't even know are coming, which is, a big treat for him. Unexpected things, that we know he likes. Being careful not to feed him stuff that we know will upset him or that he's had trouble with in the past. Being positive, but I'm not going to run around naked, I can tell you. That'd really put him off.
I'm not going to go there. We're not going to go there. Greg, your lens on that? What's worked well for you in the past?
For those that don't know, I actually work at Lindt Chocolates. So I think one of Brick's highlights is his training and everything is based on Lindt chocolates, how many chocolates he can consume. Gingerbread chocolates, the salted caramel chocolates. The gingerbread ones are very good for their gut. So if you can get some ginger, whether it's ginger beer or ginger chocolates, sea salt caramel's got the sugar and the salt in it, the two vital ingredients. I know Brick is a massive fan of Tailwind. I've used Tailwind as well. Tailwind is very, very easy. Chips are a very good thing. Give him a handful of chips. Jane Trumper always, I've got a mate that works in a chip factory as well. So Jane Trumper always wanted Cheezels because she can stick them on her fingers, and there's 5 snacks on one hand.
Well, she is small.
She is small, yes. But yeah, nutrition, particularly with Tailwind and an absolute endless supply of chocolates, it makes it very, very easy. Then you've only got to worry about the little treats, you know, the custards, the noodles, things like that. We've also got a kettle set up in the 4-wheel drive as well, so we can cook up. John's always cooked a casserole at the bottom of after the dead tree, just on dusk at the corner there. Yep. So that's the cruise dinner time. That's always worked really well. But yeah, nutrition's always worked well for us. But also having done so many of these events, longer and shorter, he knows what he wants. So I actually think that we've got a pretty easy gig with Brick.
Okay. Guys, we're running out of time, and this is going to be the last question from us. But if anybody's got any other questions, just chuck them into the chat, please. Last question, Jenny, Peter. Any rookie errors that any of the new crews should be aware of?
Have a good car battery.
Yes, spot on.
And don't turn it off every time you stop. Let it idle. Because at night with the flashing lights on your vehicle, you're going to get a jack slattery very, very quickly.
Flat battery. Yeah. Don't be complacent. Don't think your runner can do it on his own, because he can't. You've got to think for them, particularly towards the end. Follow the race rules. Make sure your runner doesn't go the wrong way.
Plenty of hand warmers. And spare batteries for his headlamp.
Torches and headlamps and things. And spare clothes for the crew too, particularly if it's wet like it was last year. You really have to look after yourself as well.
So Dalgetty's finished now, is it, the haul? Did you say?
Sorry, finished?
Is Dalgetty finished now for soups? And
Dalgetty Hall will be open. It will be
right.
Yeah.
It will have soups. My point earlier was just Dalgetty School has closed. The cafe there is closed. The pub is now only open 4 days a week. One of those is a Friday. But again, the townspeople at Dalgetty still know we come through. It might seem like no one knows in the middle of the night, but they all know everyone's coming through.
Well, that's a highlight for us, for the cruise.
That's anyhow. A really good place. Yeah.
But the Dalgetty Hall will be open. It will be warm. There'll be smiling faces and a tour.
Yeah.
Great.
That sense of relief that's just came over your face there, Peter.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I can see that sense of relief that's just come over your face there.
Yes.
Greg, your tips for the newbies?
Yeah, I think
new crews.
Dalgetty, try not to get your runner into Dalgetty Hall. Try and get them out of Dalgetty Hall. But your crew definitely get into Dalgetty Hall. Dalgetty Hall will have, or generally has, a couple of pots of hot soup. It's nice and warm. You get to chat with other runners. You're inside a nice warm building. There's tea, there's coffee. You actually get to sit down and put your feet up, not in a car. But yeah, enjoy Dalgety. Cathcart, if the shop's open, grab yourself a meat pie. Support all the local places as we go through it. Yeah, watch where you're parking. And if there's water crossings, go easy through the water crossings. Don't race through it. Don't go too slowly. And we had a couple of situations last year where the waters are a bit high across some of the causeways. So if you're not sure how to cross a flooded causeway, look into it, but definitely don't hit it too hard. Don't stop halfway through. Yeah, and stay safe, stay warm, and stay fed.
And if you need help along the way and you haven't got the answers, ask someone else. Ask another crew. Yeah. Because we're all in this together. We're trying to get our runners home.
Yep. That's the one thing Paul and Di always said, that the 50-odd runners that are in the race are 50 runners that they know can get to the end. Now, it's all our jobs as crews, and I guess as fellow runners as well, to help where we can. Obviously, we've got our runner that we need to look after, but we've got to look after everybody's crew and everybody's runner at the same time. I think that's what this family is about. It's not just a case of I need to get Brick to the finish at any cost. You know, I'm not going to leave someone out there. I will look after Brick the best way that I can, but if I can help someone else along the way, it's not going to hinder Brick one bit.
And don't be shy with other people.
Yeah, you're going to get to know them. You're going to get to know the people that are running along the same times as your runner.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Just a question in the chat. Do either of you swap crews or paces over from separate cars at checkpoints? If so, what's the best way to go about it? I think from hearing from you both, you don't do that, but if you've got any advice around that, let us know. But I'd assume it'd be very much again, communication would be the key about the status update of what the runner is like, what shape they're in, or were in or about to be in, and what their likely needs are.
We picked up one extra crewman. He actually, I think he dropped his car off at Jindabyne and made his way back to Dalgety and met us there. I think you can only pick a crew up at a checkpoint, can't you?
Yes, correct.
So yeah, you have to do that at a proper checkpoint. You can't just pull over on the side of the road and say, "Tag, you're it."
Yes, that too.
But yeah, that's probably the only time that we didn't have 3 in the support crew for the first, 140 Ks or whatever it is, to Dalgety. But once we got to Dalgety, then we did have the extra crew person.
We have swapped them out. You know,
and what have you normally done in making that swap out? How have you operated that?
Well, it's just been a complete swap. One of us has left, the other one's climbed in, and then gone on from there. And
you normally giving them an update, Jenny, or is it with it, or a briefing?
We'll just pass over the paperwork mostly, and they can follow what's happened, and that just gives them a guide of where we're up to, sort of.
The paperwork does get a bit sloppy towards the end of the race.
But like the car, it starts off neat and organised, and as you go on, it becomes a little bit more untidy and messy. But yeah,
it's like a handover at a hospital ward.
Yes, it is like a handover. Yes, yeah, and
take a big rubbish bag with you too for all your rubbish.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And a first aid kit. Basic first aid kit at least.
Yeah, and a good torch.
Yeah, and a good torch, that's important.
And just another question about phone service out on the course, and I think we've put it in the documentation. The phone service gradually improves year over year. Telstra has better coverage out there than other networks, just being frank with that. Coverage is reasonable at the start. It's actually reasonable at the end. It is a bit patchy at points throughout the course, and there's a few spots where there is none, but generally that's only a few spots where there is none, but it'll be down to low, might be 1 bar in some spots and not be the best. So phone coverage is moderate and good in some places. Again, that's just something you need to prepare for with communication as well.
Yeah, don't rely upon it. Even going up Cowbale Trail, which you would expect to be very isolated, we still had a bit of a signal going up there. But the key point there is do not rely on it.
The same way you don't rely on Cathcart store having every goods and service in the world or fast food that you can have. Don't rely on Jindabyne having 24-hour shops around the clock. Don't rely on petrol stations everywhere. You've effectively got Toowoomba, the Toowoomba barbecue. You've got the Cathcart General Store, which is limited range, but again, very grateful to have a lot of business come through that day. And then you've got Jindabyne, which by memory, the servos open at 7 and close around 7, I think, at night. And I will say the food at the pub goes off at 9. I've liked that by personal experience. But so you need to be quite self-sufficient. And again, don't rely on everything else around you. There's also another question around mandatory gear requirements for Cowbale Trail. No, there's no other mandatory requirements for Cowbale Trail. The one we've set a pacer, and the pacer can mule. And again, that exists throughout the rest of the race as well. And there was a comment there, or should we just be smart? You should be smart at all times. Make smart decisions. Make safe decisions.
Even when you're tired.
That's true.
All right, yeah. A big and a huge thanks to Jenny and Peter, Rob Mason's crew. Wishing you guys a very happy 2022 race. Rob does his usual and goes really well. And Greg, thank you very much as well. A huge thanks to you, mate.
No problems at all.
Enjoy the 2022 race as well.
Will do. Have fun, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you then.
Guys. We'll also make the recording available in the coming days.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well,